All right. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I'm in the West Coast, so it's actually just afternoon for me right now. I had a few technical difficulties this morning, so we're going to just give just a minute or so to let some of our viewers join in, and then I'll be right with you. Thanks. All right. Well, good morning or good afternoon. I already said that. You know, I'm a little nervous. I had a few technical difficulties, so hopefully everything is going to work out today as we get through this. So, my name is Teresa Williams. I'm an educational technology trainer for Mesa Public Schools in Mesa, Arizona. I am also an authorized Google Education trainer. Welcome to Google Education on Air, Flip with Forms. Today I'm going to talk about what it means to flip, how you can use forms and the data they collect to do that, and then a little bit on how you can create one yourself. So let me go ahead and show you. Let's talk about what does it mean to flip. As you can see from the graphic that I created, we've got a side-by-side comparison of a traditional classroom versus a flipped classroom. In a traditional classroom, the teacher typically lectures or delivers some type of guided instruction while the students listen and take notes. Then homework is assigned and completed typically outside of the classroom without any type of assistance or access to the teacher for help or questions if they needed it. Whereas with the flipped classroom, it's an instructional methodology or a type of blended learning that delivers instructional content, typically online, and it's outside of the classroom, which allows for activities, including those that have traditionally been considered homework, into the classroom, where the students can have access to the teacher to ask questions and to get help and one-on-one reteaching if they need to. The other benefit with the flipped classroom is that when the students are receiving that content outside of the classroom, they can re-watch it if it's a video or if it's a reading assignment. They can reread it as many times as necessary to be able to understand what it is that they are receiving. And so then the following day or whenever they are back in the classroom, they're able to then get the help that they need and be able to participate in the activities that are going to develop those higher level thinking skills and be able to engage in student-centered activities in the classroom. So this session is going to focus on using forms to flip your classroom. There are numerous ways to flip a classroom and to deliver content to students. So the question today is, why use forms? Using a form allows the teacher to combine the delivery of content, account for students, the student accountability, and collect data to help facilitate the classroom all in one format. So let's talk about using forms to flip. First, you're going to need to determine how you're going to deliver the content. So, are you going to create your own video? Are you going to set up a webcam and record yourself delivering the content using the board and whatever tools you have in your classroom? Or are you going to find a video that already exists on YouTube? Or are you going to create some type of a screencast where you're giving instruction to students that way? Also, are you going to provide any type of links to online resources? Is it going to be an ebook, an online article, anything like that? So you've really got to think, first of all, what is the content you're going to deliver, and how are you going to deliver that content? The next thing you need to consider is what is the data that you want to collect. So this is where we're taking using forms to flip to the next level. We're not just using a form to deliver the content, we are using forms to also collect data that's going to help us with a lot of other things. One, it's going to help us with the student accountability. We're going to make sure that all of our students receive the content. Maybe you're going to require them to sign in. It'll automatically collect their username. It'll provide a timestamp that lets you know when they accessed the form and completed it. There may be questions to verify that students received the content. Maybe just a multiple choice question, did you watch the video or not? You could include comprehension questions that are going to check for understanding. You could design questions that are going to help you group your students for when they come back into class for the activities. You want to think ahead. How do you want to group your students? And how do you want to design your questions to meet your goals of the class? And then the third or the fourth way is your discussion. What do you want to, or what direction do you want to guide your students in? So thinking of questions that you can include in the form along with the content to help facilitate that student-centered learning environment when they return to the classroom. So this year I was able to participate in a committee with my district where we met with several of our professional development trainers as well as some other Title I specialists throughout the district. And our goal was to kind of change the way or the mindset that we have about professional development in our district. We have a very large district, and we are pretty much the providers of the professional development. Most of the professional development for our teachers happens in-house through the district. There are some cases where they go outside of the district, but we provide a lot of training for our teachers in our district. And we wanted to take a look at how are we creating classes, how are we delivering classes, and are we providing an appropriate model for our teachers through our own professional development with blended learning and technology integration and all of those things. So when we had our last, one of the trainings that I was a co-presenter with on giving the professional development trainers a little piece of all the technology that's available, all the different ways that they can integrate technology, we decided that why don't we take this opportunity to model how they can flip. And so I created a form to flip a professional development training. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you and give you some ideas of how you can also use a form and the data that it collects to flip a class. Now, although this is, keep this in mind that even though this was used with adult learners, the same concepts and strategies we used with students in K-12 or higher education classroom. So let's go ahead and take a look at the form that I created for that professional development training. All right. So here's the form. When you create a form, the first thing that you have the option to do is at the top is your form settings. Do you want to require a sign-in? Do you want to automatically collect their username? All those things you have the option to do. Now, one thing that we struggle with in our district is that our 64,000+ students are on a different domain. So when our teachers create forms, they cannot use those form setting options at the top. They cannot require a login, and they cannot automatically collect usernames because our students are on a different domain. So when I do my trainings, I let them know that common practice, just get in the habit, always include those questions that ask for the first name, the last name, and I always make those separate questions to make it easier to sort the columns in the spreadsheet. Always ask them to give you their email address, and then if it's a secondary teacher, I always encourage them to include a question for their class period or their course title so that it makes it a lot easier to be able to sort the data. Well, this particular form was used with employees that are on the same domain as I am. So I was able to check those boxes at the top. And what that did for me as a trainer is that let me know when the user submitted the form. So I could go in and I could look at this a couple of days ahead of time, and I could compare that to the calendar invite and the people that were supposed to be attending the training, and I could see who had completed it and who hadn't, and then I could send out reminder emails. So that goes along with the accountability. I can make sure that they complete it, and then I can send reminders if they haven't. The title for your form, if you didn't know, there are two different places to put a title. You can put a title right here. This is the title of the form that the respondents will see when they complete the form. The title up here in the top left-hand corner is what you see in your drive. You can actually make those different. You can have a title that you want your users to see, and then if you have a specific naming convention for your drive to keep yourself organized, you can have a different title up here in the top left-hand corner. So it really makes it nice to be able to organize forms and keep track of what you're doing. The first thing that I did when I was thinking, okay, where are we going to go with this training? What are we going to do? What is our goal? What do we want to work towards? We're giving them little ideas of all the technology that they can use. So I wanted to know, first off, what things do they know? What are they comfortable with themselves? And then also, what are they comfortable with as an instructor? So I created these grid questions, listed the technology we were going to be talking about down to the left, and then the rating across the top, from very uncomfortable to very comfortable. And the first question was yourself. How do you feel comfortable, or how comfortable are you using this technology yourself? The next question was, how comfortable are you with using these tools and concepts as an instructor? Because we all know that our comfortability level ourselves is often different than when we're standing in front of a group of people and we're presenting that information to others and modeling it for others. So I wanted to see if there was a difference, how big the difference was, and then use that as part of our discussion for our class. The next thing I did was right here in my form, I used a section header, and I typically do that when I'm creating a form to flip for a class. I use section headers to introduce the videos and to give instruction on what I like them to do, because if you've ever created a form and inserted a video, you know that you can't connect a question to the video. You have to put the videos in and then you add the questions separately. So I let them know, choose one of the videos below, because I found 3 that I wanted them that were appropriate for our class, and I wanted them to choose one of the 3 to watch and then provide some thoughts. So I put in the title for each video, I listed each video here, and then my question at the bottom was, which video did you watch? Because I wanted to know. And then I did think ahead. I thought, you know, some of these people are probably going to be a little eager to learn everything, and I gave them the option to choose. I watched all 3. I wasn't sure that anyone would watch all 3, but there were quite a few. So that helped me in knowing how many people actually watched all 3 videos rather than just one. Then I asked them to briefly describe what they can take away from the video they watched and what are some tools or concepts that they would like to learn more about. So all of these questions were designed with a goal in mind. I wanted to design my class in a way that would help us reach our ultimate goal, which was to redesign our professional development in our district. So these goals, or these questions, led me to my goals. You know, what do they know now? What are they comfortable with? Letting us know what we need to work on. And then I wanted to use the information from the videos that I chose to group the students. So I already had in mind an activity where I was going to group them, and we were going to discuss these 3 different things. And so I wanted them to watch a video, let me know which one they watched, and provide a comment about that video. And that was for an activity that I was going to do in class. So let me go ahead and show you what we did, or what I did with the data. So this was the form that I sent out. For those of you who want to see it, if I can click on the view the live form, we'll see if that'll come up. I can show you what that looks like.
Nope, that was what I was running into this morning. I'm not sure why I'm not getting permission on some of these. I've shared them with myself and it's not working. But I delivered the live form via email. I copied the link to the live form and I sent it to all the people that were going to be participating in the class via email. So here's the spreadsheet where I collected the data. Because I used the grid question, you can see across the top I've got several columns. There's a column for each of the different areas that I asked them to rate themselves on. And then at the end of the spreadsheet, I've got my paragraph text questions where I ask them to describe a takeaway from the video and what are some tools or concepts that they would like to know more about. The first thing that I did, and I did collect their usernames, but I'm hiding that column because it does have actual usernames of teachers in our district. So just so you know, I am hiding column B up here for the purposes of this demonstration. But the first thing that I did when we went to the class was I showed the summary of responses. And the summary of responses gives a chart that shows. Let me see if I can bring it up on my other computer. Yep, here we go. All right, so let me show you the summary of responses. So this is what I brought up. And what I didn't give them a whole lot of time to analyze the data. I just kind of scrolled through it just like I'm doing right now. They knew that the top bar was very uncomfortable, the bottom bar was very comfortable. And I wanted them to just glance at it and say, what are your observations based on these graphs? And what that did was that led to a discussion in our class about where we are with technology and what steps we need to take ourselves. And then I said, okay, let's compare this to now, how do you feel, what are the observations on how comfortable we are with technology as an instructor? And then we compared the two and also used that as a discussion piece for our class on, you know, some of us are comfortable with some of the things, but there are a lot of things that we need to become more comfortable with. If we're going to be professional development instructors in our district, we're going to be modeling for the teachers, then there are a lot of things that we need to work on as a committee to be more comfortable with so that we can model those for the teachers in our class. So that's another way that you can use forms to flip in your classroom, is using the data and the summary of responses to spark a discussion. Getting your students to make inferences, draw conclusions based on the data. Here's a pie chart of the video. So I could get a quick snapshot of which video did each of the participants and the respondents watch. And again, you know, that wasn't necessarily useful in this particular case, but what was useful is comments that they provided down at the bottom. And I'm going to show you what I did with that next. So let me go ahead and switch back to my other screen. So what I did from the spreadsheet was I copied and pasted all of the responses at the end based on what video they watched. And then I created a document and I grouped my participants. So I have those that watched the flipped classroom video in group 1. I've got the SAMR in group 2, and I've got tech integration in group 3. And what I did is I divided them up. I gave each group a copy of the comments that were left after the participants watched the videos. And then I asked them as a group to discuss those comments and then come up with one culminating comment that they could then share out with the rest of the class. So that facilitated a small group discussion, which led to a whole group discussion and a share out of these technology integration strategies that we could work on as a professional development group. Okay. So now that I've showed you some ideas on how you can use a form with a goal in mind and the data that you collect from that form, to facilitate a student-centered classroom, leading discussions and group work and activities. I'm going to show you a little bit now about how you can create your own form. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to this screen here. And we're going to go to my drive. All right. When you're in your Drive, go ahead and click on the New button. Go down and select More and Google Forms. Remember again that you can have two different titles. You can have a title up here at the top left that you're going to see in your Drive, and you can have a title down here that your users are going to see when they fill out the form. So for today, we're just going to call this, a practice flipped form. Depending on the options that you have in your district or your domain, you can, and I'm using a Gmail account for this, so I don't have the option up here to even request, but if you are using a GAFE account and your students are on the same domain, you can require them to sign in and automatically collect their username. That is an option when you're using your forms. But again, like I mentioned before, I always like to ask them for their first name so that I have that in one column, and then I ask them for their last name as a separate question to make it easy to sort. Okay. The other thing is we'll want to make those questions required. We don't want them to be able to skip over them without giving us a name. And then the next question is we're going to ask them to provide their complete email address. Okay. To introduce our video, our content, we're going to put in a section header. Please watch the video below and answer the questions before class on Friday. So maybe you're not doing this every day, maybe this is just once a week, you're providing some type of content outside of class, and you're going to use the data that you collect to facilitate the classroom when the students return. Then you're going to put in your video, so select a video. If you already have the URL for the video, you can just paste it in, or you can do a YouTube search right from here. So I can put in Hamlet. And maybe we're going to talk about this crash course in literature, ghost murder and more murder. So we're going to select that video, put it in. Now you will want to have previewed the videos before you send them to your students. You definitely want to vet the information that you're going to be sending out to your students ahead of time. You can organize your video on the screen, you can center it, you can right justify it by using those buttons down at the bottom. You can also adjust the size of your video. So simply double click on the video and drag your corners, and you can adjust the size. Let's see if my mouse is working here. Okay, so you can make your video as large or as small as you want, and you can put it on the center of the page or left or right justify it. Okay. If you want, you can put in a title to the video and a caption, but those are optional. You don't have to fill in those fields. Once you have your video, you're going to want to put in your question. Again, that is geared toward your classroom goal. What are the discussions that you want to have? What are the activities that you're going to have the students participating in? Where do you want them to go with this information? And then you're going to create your questions and put those in based on that. So for me, for this particular video, it's just going to be, did they watch it? So it could be, did you watch the video? And then our options are going to be yes or no. Now again, you know, this is not the perfect example. They could obviously just say no or yes, and even if they didn't. But you would have some type of a comprehension question about a piece of the video that you're going to want to use to verify if they've watched it or not. So just like the form I showed you before, you're going to have any type of question that you need to gather the data that you want. If you are going to be showing multiple videos and you want to make sure that they watch them all and watch one at a time and answer some questions, you could always insert page breaks and have the videos on different pages. So they watch one video, answer the questions, watch another video, answer the questions, and then maybe there's a link to an outside source that you want to post in your form as well that could be included in the description or in your section headers. Okay. You can customize your confirmation page. You can say thank you, your response has been recorded. The data, I like to let them know, the data collected in this form will be used to group you in class on Friday. Okay. You can change the theme. I really like the new customizable themes in Google Forms. Okay, I don't know if the cats actually fit. Let's pick this something different. Okay. And then when you're ready to send it to your students, you're going to go to the live form. Click in the address bar at the top. You can either do right-click and copy or your shortcut keys, Control-C to copy. And then my recommendation, what I usually tell people is to either put the link to the live form on a web page, email the link in the live form to your students, or you could always generate a QR code and post the QR codes up around your class for your students to be able to answer. So that is just a quick demonstration of how you can use forms and the data that you collect in those forms to flip a classroom. It's more about more than just delivering the content. It's creating questions and designing a form that's going to give you feedback and data that's going to allow you to truly facilitate a student-centered classroom, get those higher level thinking skills going, and let your students be creative and explore things on their own. That's the whole idea behind blended learning and flipping your classroom is. And then it also frees the teacher up to be there to answer questions and to help facilitate what's going on in the classroom with the students at all times. So we're just at our 30-minute mark. I apologize for the short delay at the beginning and getting started. And see if we have any questions. I'm not seeing any come through the Q&A app, and I apologize. Let me go ahead and look real quick on the other sheet. But if there's any questions, I'll be sure to get those answered. Let me go back to my form over here, give you my contact information. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me. T.A. Williams at mpsc.org, or my personal email is Miss Teresa Williams 2006 at gmail.com. Follow me on Google+, Teresa Williams MPS. That's my work one. That's my most active, where I'm constantly updating and posting and sharing things that are related to all things Google and technology integration and blended learning. So I'd like to again, just thanks for watching, and feel free to email me or find me on Google+ if you have any other questions about using forms to flip. Thanks. Have a great day.